Good Tuesday morning, 4th day of June, 2024. I am Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Batteries not included. Overcast, a little on the cool side. It's 50 degrees. We had some wind yesterday. One gust to Pangbourne measured close to 50 miles an hour. It was quite windy. Guess what? Going to do it all over again today. Yeah, more wind. Not quite as windy as yesterday. This is a second system. Yesterday was system number one, that rather vigorous cold front that came through. We only got to 66 degrees, about 10 degrees below normal. This is a secondary one, not quite as cold, not quite as active, not quite as powerful. So we're going to be a little bit warmer, not quite as windy. Things transition on Wednesday for a big dome of high pressure. It's going to set up over almost the entire western United States. And then we go up the temperature scale and we top off well into the 90s. By Saturday before a quick cool down. It is June after all. The heat is coming and it'll be here by the time we get to Friday for sure. Forecast details are coming up. There's a lot of news to get to. Sports, we're talking OTAs. Seahawks doing their thing at the VMAC in Renton. We'll check in with some of the Seahawk players. Of course, they got a whole new coaching staff, new coordinators, the whole 9 yards. Applesauce won again. They're 4-0 as a non-leaguer. We'll have talk about that. And also the Mariners didn't play. They played 17 games in 17 days. They finally had yesterday off. They'll be in the Bay Area to take on the Athletics. We'll have that. And yesterday, Mike Magnotti planted a seed, and he rarely does that. Usually when Mike talks to me, I usually just nod and act like I'm paying attention. But he had Chief Steve Crown in, the outgoing Chief of Police for the city of Wenatchee. Chief Crown's going to be retiring here in a couple of days. Last night, right across the street at Wenatchee City Hall, they had a reception and a get-to-know-you with the three candidates vying to replace Steve Crown. So I thought, I'm going to play that exit interview that Jefferson Robbins did with Steve Crown last month. It's good stuff, very fascinating background about Chief Crown and his accomplishments and what he'd like to see happen in the future for law enforcement here in the Wenatchee Valley. So his conversation with Steve Crown, Jefferson, and Chief Crown will air in the back half of the program. Let's do our tour. Same cameras as yesterday. We have to hit Control-Alt-Delete on the computer. And until we do so, we're going to have the same cameras, but we'll get her all fixed. Columbia River is high. It's cold. It's dirty. The snow continues to melt. So that's just the way it is. Again, not quite as windy today as it was on Monday, but windy enough. And by the way, check this out. Pullman got 3/4 of an inch of rain yesterday. That's a lot for Pullman. We needed more rain. We didn't get any. We got about 3/100ths of an inch, which isn't much. We could use more. We need about a 2-day steady rainfall to really get us back on the right side of the drought, but didn't happen at all, and there's very little rain in the forecast. To the number one canyon camera we go. There you go. Oh, look, you can see my house from there. Far on the west side of the Wenatchee Valley, looking out towards, that's pointed kind of southeast, looking out towards Rock Island and Malaga from our number one canyon camera. That's up the canyon quite a ways. Beautiful view there. Let's head on up to Lake Chelan to the Upper Butte. The bathtub is not quite full. They're about 5 feet away, 4.5 feet away from Lake Chelan being completely full for the summertime recreation. Boy, Lake Chelan's going to be hopping this weekend with these hot temperatures. It'll be the place to go cool off. Lake Chelan. It's nice to have that lake, and it's just a nice little short little 40-minute drive up from the valley. Good morning to Lake Chelan and Wapato Point, and Lake Chelan from our McNeil Canyon camera zoomed way back. A lot of information on that frame. Those clouds look a little lower, don't they? Well, of course, Lake Chelan is about 400 feet higher than the Wenatchee Valley. Wenatchee Valley, where the Columbia River flows through, is about 700 feet above sea level. Lake Chelan is about 1,100 feet above sea level. So the clouds are probably about the same height. They just look lower because the land is higher. Does that make sense at all? Did I mention it's going to be windy again? Not as windy as yesterday, but we do have a couple of slides to show for you from the National Weather Service. It is going to be breezy again today. Not quite as windy. These are your wind gusts, not your sustained winds. So 40 to 45 mile an hour wind gusts at times. Going to be quite breezy out in the Columbia Basin as well. So once again, the area lakes that have a sizable body of water could be a tad on the choppy side. To my knowledge, we didn't have any power outages yesterday despite the strong winds. As far as sustained winds, about 20 miles an hour, but we're going to see gusts stronger than that, as you can see on this map. And then we start warming up And I like this graphic because it shows other areas in our viewing area that we normally don't spotlight, like Moses Lake and Omak and Chelan. As you can see, the temperatures are going to top off on Saturday. This dome of high pressure is right over the top of the four corners, and it's going to basically radiate heat over the entire western third of this United States. That's a big, big dome of high pressure, and it's going to do what high pressure does this time of the year with the long days. It's going to heat us up. In fact, we're almost 16 hours of daylight now, 15 hours and 47 minutes on this 4th day of June. From the National Weather Service, windy and a little rainy, 40% chance of rain. Any rain that we get is going to be this morning. If you've looked outside or you see the camera, it is pretty cloudy, so an occasional raindrop is not out of the question. Gradually, the sun will be coming out as the day progresses, as this second system comes in, and that's also going to kick up the wind. Very little wind right now, but by the time we get to the afternoon, we'll have winds at about 20 miles an hour, and warmer. We'll top off at 71 after 66 yesterday. Winds die down gradually overnight tonight. Cool, 46 for the overnight low, or normal overnight low was 53. Then it's back up to sunshine Wednesday. If you don't like the real warm weather, but you like the sunny and warm but not hot, Wednesday is right up your alley. Sunshine and 77, just about normal. Then we start cooking. Thursday we'll top off at 86. It's going to be very warm at Lee-Bofto Field at the Apple Bowl on Friday night for the Wenatchee High School commencement exercises, because it's always outside. 91. Our high on Friday. First time we've gotten to the 90s so far this year. Obviously the warmest temperatures of the year so far. Slightly, a little cooler on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but still lots of sunshine, very warm. The air conditioner will be kicking into high gear by Thursday. All right, that's your forecast. We're going to take a 2-minute break and then come back with your news. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the Instant Live channel.
The family at the Epladolin want to help your loved one feel at ease in their new home environment. Epladolin offers beautiful one-bedroom and studio apartments. Residents enjoy 3 delicious home-style meals a day, laundry service, housekeeping service, and encouragement to make themselves cozy in their new home. Epladolin welcomes your family to come and visit their family. Epladolin, independent and assisted living. They make the complicated easy for you. Call today for a tour.
If your chair is comfortable and still fits, don't toss it. Reupholster it at Wenatchee Upholstery. The sky is the limit. From new upholstery in your favorite car to upgrading your seats in the boats. Everything old can be new again when you call Joe. Personalize your golf cart, grandma's chair, your favorite bar stool. Trust your treasure with Wenatchee Upholstery.
Let's go! Put your hands together for the world-famous Harlem Globetrotters. This isn't just basketball, people. This is where what just happened happens all the time. Don't miss the Harlem Globetrotters 2024 World Tour presented by Jersey Mike Subs at Town Toyota Center on June 16th. Go to harlemglobetrotters.com for tickets.
Global Car Care has the best customer service in the Valley. From the moment you walk in the door, their goal is to help you stay on the road, so you can keep doing what's important to you. Global Car Care certified ASE mechanics stand behind your automotive repairs.
Quite a bit of cloud cover right now, 52 degrees. The clouds will be exiting. We'll see some sunshine this afternoon. Also, again, very windy. Highs will be in the lower 70s, mid 70s Wednesday, into the 90s. A distinct possibility, certainly Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Just about 10 minutes after the hour, a Wenatchee man is in jail, and he's charged with sex crimes after allegedly responding twice to a sting operation by the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. 41-year-old Robert Sean Cifuentes faces 2 counts of commercial sexual abuse of a minor and 1 of attempted child rape. Chelan County Sheriff's deputies say Cifuentes replied in April to an online advertisement posted by detectives claiming to offer a child for sexual services. Cifuentes allegedly replied to the ad multiple times in early May and then responded to a different decoy ad a few days later. Deputies arrested him at his place of work last Tuesday. He remains in jail on a $250,000 bond. A man who befouled a local Wenatchee hotel room by cooking up some phony narcotics in one of its hotel rooms has got to have to pay for the cleanup. A lot of money. $19,000 is the bill. Brian Mariano Rivera Martinez of East Wenatchee, sentenced last September to 5 years in prison for drug manufacturing and possession with intent. The Columbia River Drug Task Force arrested Martinez in 2022 for manufacturing counterfeit fentanyl tablets in his room at the Wenatchee Travel Lodge, which left toxic chemical waste behind. The hotel had to close off the room and hire special cleaners to make it, well, usable again. Chelan County Judge Travis Brandt ordered Martinez on Thursday to pay $18,991 to cover the costs of cleaning that room. An apparent medical emergency resulted in a rather significant accident in the Ephrata Walmart parking lot. In fact, a number of other vehicles were struck. This happened on Sunday. 2 people were injured. The Ephrata Police Department says a 40-year-old woman and a 14-year-old girl had to be transported for treatment after being struck. The younger victim suffered only minor injuries, but the 40-year-old had a broken arm and other injuries. Police say the 70-year-old driver may have suffered a medical crisis behind the wheel. That person was also treated at a local hospital. The crash involved 6 vehicles in total, as well as a boat and the trailer that the boat was sitting on. Chelan County is announcing that the Peshastin Bridge that connects the town to Highway 2, heavily traveled, will experience a temporary full closure starting on June 17th. The county is launching a project. They're going to repair 5 bridges this summer, but the Peshastin Bridge will require a temporary full closure since the sidewalks, the guardrails, and the narrow lanes do not leave safe space for construction crews to do their job. The 4-week closure will conclude on July 13th. The detour for drivers is a big one. It'll include North Road, Chumstick Highway, and Highway 2. Repairs include partial repaving and the replacement of deck joints. Construction dates for the remaining 4 bridges, we don't know yet. They haven't told us. Chelan County got a new fire marshal back in mid-April, just in time for the 2024 fire season. Chris Pedersen came on board April 15th. She's from Yakima County, where she served both as a fire marshal and a lieutenant in the West Valley Fire Department. She replaces former Marshal Steve Rinaldi. She'll oversee 2 other fire inspectors. In an interview with our own Jefferson Robbins yesterday, Pedersen says for her, firefighting and fire safety is kind of runs in the family.
Well, I grew up around the fire service. My dad retired as City of Yakima firefighter. He was a captain, 32 years on the job. And so I always wanted to be part of the fire service. And I've been a volunteer firefighter with West Valley Fire Department for 31 years. So I'm a lieutenant there. So I got into it and started fire investigation about 15 years ago. Love it. It's like a puzzle putting pieces together. So I really enjoy that. Yeah, I've just been around it my whole life. We're very similar. Yakima has a lot of agricultural areas and wineries. We have a lot of agriculture up here. Our landscapes up here are a little different. They're incredible with Lake Chelan, Lake Wenatchee. We both have the mountains. We both have that wildfire potential. And so they're very similar. They're similar in counties. Yakima is a little bit bigger, but overall it's extremely similar in what we do with the area. I just felt that Chelan County is just such a beautiful area, and I wanted to kind of come and make this kind of my own. I inherited the fire marshal's position from a wonderful previous fire marshal, great mentor, but I kind of wanted to branch out on my own and bring all of that knowledge to this area and help this office grow into just a fantastic place with great education for wildfires, for your fire and life safety inspections for your businesses, to the short-term rentals, which we have a lot of with the cabins and all of that, and just bring all that knowledge here and help this office grow. We actually handle new plan review for residences, anything over 3,600 square feet. We look for home sprinkler systems. We do commercial fire plan review as well. There will be propane tanks that we look at to make sure they meet the code. We're implementing a fire and life safety program where we'll be going around to businesses making sure that their business is up to code for not only their employee safety, but for their patron safety as well. Short-term rentals is a big thing here, which is awesome around the lakes. And we want to make it safe for all of our people coming in for to recreate, as we like to call it, I guess. And then we also cover fire prevention and schools and in the public, slip, trip, and falls for our older community members. We do fire prevention for our younger ones as well, our kids. Help them make sure they have 2 ways out of their homes and know where to go, how to call 911, what the information they need to have for those. And then just wildfire preparedness around here. This is such a beautiful area. We want to keep it beautiful. So teach defensible spaces and how to be prepared in case that fire does come across.
June 1st was the first date of the burn ban.
Correct.
Which extends all the way through September.
Yes.
So what do people need to know about the burn ban in unincorporated Chelan County? What are their responsibilities now?
Responsibilities is to not burn. I know that we want to, we get all our grass clippings and our tree trimmings that we want to burn, but unfortunately this time of year becomes very hazardous with the weather. It's dry and all of our weeds and stuff start drying out. It's very easy to catch things on fire, and you may think it could just be a small fire I'm going to take care of, but a lot of those fires grow into large fires. So we want to make sure our areas are clean around our houses, the defensible space, 30 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet, depending on where you live in the area. Make sure your combustibles are away from your house. Make sure your yards are cleaned up. Your wood is not stacked right next to your house to prevent those, because embers can travel up to a mile. People don't understand that. So just make sure your houses are clean so that we can help prevent any long-time fires.
And it's that time of the year again. Local high school seniors commencing to exercise. And we will have 3 commencement exercises televised right here on the NCW Life channel. First up, it'll be Eastmont. Eastmont will be graduating at the Town Toyota Center this Friday at 6 o'clock. We will have that for you live here on the NCW Life channel. 2 hours later, beginning at 8 o'clock at Lee Bofta Field at the Apple Bowl, Wenatchee High School holds their commencement exercises. And then next Tuesday, June 11th, also at the Town Toyota Center, it'll be Westside High School's commencement ceremony. So Eastmont's will be at 6 on Friday, Wenatchee's at 8 on Friday, and then next Tuesday, Westside ceremony will be live right here at 7 o'clock from the Town Toyota Center. So if you can't make it to watch your favorite graduate, you can watch it right here on television, or as we like to say in the business, TV. And that's what's making news at 18 minutes after the hour. Don't forget, we got a newscast for you tonight at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, 5, 6, and 10. Watch the news on TV. If that doesn't fit into your schedule, we'll take care of you. We'll have it up and running on our homepage, ncwlife.com, our Facebook page, our YouTube page. We have X, we got Instagram, we have a song in our heart, we have an email address, we have an app. We got it all here. Download the QR code. It's right next to me, and just smartphone away, and boom, you got the app. Just like that. When we come back, sports in 2 minutes. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
My name's Nick Dirk, and I've been a cinematographer-photographer for over 10 years. I got my start at the Wenatchee Valley Technical Skills Center. Without the Tech Center, I wouldn't have got my first job in media production 3 months after I graduated high school.
My name is Charlie Voris, and I own Vortex Productions. My work has taken me on exciting adventures all around the world, and I got my start at Wenatchee Valley Tech.
Hey, my name is Oli Mingo, and I'm the Executive Director at Heirloom Creatives in Wenatchee. I am so thankful for Wenatchee Valley Tech to be able to have my dream career.
The 2024 Wenatchee Apple Sox season begins on May 31st with a 6:35 p.m. game against the Port Angeles Lefties. Spend your summer soaking up the sun at the ballpark and watching some of the top college baseball players in the country. The season lasts until mid-August, and the Apple Sox are looking to make a third consecutive postseason appearance this season. Secure your tickets now by heading to applesox.com or by calling 509-665-6900. Wenatchee Apple Sox Baseball, celebrating summer one inning at a time.
Crown Furniture knows the most important part of a healthy and productive lifestyle is good quality sleep. The Englander Mattress Company is dedicated to manufacturing the best mattresses made in the USA. Englander chooses the finest materials made in the USA with a drive, dedication, and attention to detail, earning them a 99% satisfaction rating. Stop by Crown Furniture today on South Wenatchee Avenue and save up to 35% on select Englander mattresses.
21 minutes after the hour, Mariners were off yesterday. They're in the Bay Area taking on Oakland. First pitch tonight is going to be 6:40. Seattle is 34-27 on the year. The A's are 24-37, so just reverse that pretty much. George Kirby starts for the Mariners. Oakland will go with Mitch Spence. Mitch Spence, again, first pitch 6:40 on Root Sports Northwest. The Mariners didn't play, but they still gained a little breathing room on the Rangers. In our division, Texas lost to Detroit Monday night 2-1. The Astros beat the Cardinals 7-4. They're within 7 games now at first place. The Angels outlasted the Padres 2-1 to earn their 22nd win of the season. Seahawks continue OTAs, organized team activities at the VMAC in Renton. Of course, they have a new offense coordinator. They have a new defensive coordinator. They got a new head coach. The new offensive coordinator is Ryan Grubb. He says they are progressing as scheduled as they learn the new scheme.
I would say we're closing in on, 50% of our installation, and I think early on we tried to do a good job on both sides of the ball of getting some of the, the critical exchanges and all the things that we need to know and understand about the nuances of the broad vision of the offense. And once you felt good about that, continue to build on that and move on. I think the guys have done a really good job, especially in the last week and a half of getting that where we could feel good about building on top of some of those things.
Of course, last year, Grubb was the offensive coordinator for the University of Washington, who went all the way to the national championship game. He says so far, Geno Smith and Sam Howell have been impressive.
They're awesome. They're friggin' awesome. They are. I think that they're both really, really hard workers. They're very diligent, intelligent, and I know that it means a lot to them. And I think that their leadership in the room and how they react and work together says a lot about the kind of guys that they are, that they understand the team concept, and they're both fighting to get better every day. And I couldn't be more happy with, number one, where they're at, and then the type of guys that, management has brought into this place have done a really good job.
Sam Howell came to the Seahawks in the offseason. It was a trade with the Washington Commanders. He says he really likes the offense. He's picking it up. He says it's kind of similar to what he ran in Washington.
It's a little different, but Grubb's done a great job. It's been so much fun learning from him, and obviously, he's had so much success over the past few years. So we do a lot of different things, mix up some tempos, but it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely a quarterback-friendly offense, and Eric Bieniemy's offense was kind of similar in that way, that it was a quarterback-friendly offense, and both of those guys like to throw the ball a lot. So it's definitely a lot of fun to play in.
Another new player is a tight end who came to us from New England. His name is Faroa Brown. He says he likes the Seahawks and he looks forward to contributing.
Just the opportunity. I felt they had 2 tight ends that had left that went on to other teams, and I just felt like it was a good opportunity to get on the field. After talking to the coaches, they had like a real role for me and was excited to get me here, and everything's been checking out since I've made the move here. So that's pretty much what went into it. It's a lot of going to that. The more money they pay you, the more you get a role, right? So they paid me a little more money this time, so I'm getting a little better role. Like, you know what I mean? I went from a supporting actress to, got me a half a trailer right now. So
So there's a new offensive coordinator. There's a new defensive coordinator. Mike McDonald tackled Jaron Reed. Says he's looking forward to strapping on the pads and hitting people.
I love it. I think it's a great change for us. I think we got a lot of guys that can play a lot of different positions. I'm excited to see where we can go with this. We got to get everybody back, everybody gelling together, but I'm excited to see where this defensive line can go. I think that they can utilize my talents a little bit more, move me around a little bit more. I think we got multiple guys that can do that. That's the most part, not just us being stationary. I think moving us around a little bit creates some mismatches for everybody that's along the line.
Seahawks start the preseason, in other words, games that don't count. On August 10th, they'll take on the Chargers in Los Angeles, California. Their second game is August 17th in Tennessee against the Titans. They finish the preseason at home August 24th against the Browns. Wenatchee Applesauce picked up their fourth win of the season last night. They've only played 4 games. It was a non-leaguer. They erased an early deficit with a 6-run fifth inning and beat Redmond. The final was 9-4. South African Ethan Buckley led the way for the Sox. He went 3 for 4 with a couple of runs. Joe Scheffler helped out the cause. He went 2 for 3 with 3 runs. Drew Welk worked 5 innings of relief. He allowed no runs and just 1 hit. Wenatchee's on the road tonight. They'll take on Port Angeles, 6:35. You can listen to the game with our good buddy Storm and Joel Norman on Sunny FM. Another action across the West Coast League last night. Rained again in Portland, so Walla Walla and Portland never got going. Let's see, Ridgefield edged Edmonton. Victoria clobbered Kelowna, and Yakima Valley won a non-league matchup with the Cascade Collegiate All-Stars. And those are just some of the games that people are playing at 26 minutes after the hour. Happy National Cheese Day. There are over 1,400 different kinds of cheeses in the world. Cheese goes back, I don't know, 10,000 years, maybe even longer than that. Funny thing about cheese, I love Roquefort dressing. I can't stand Roquefort cheese. Any cheese that has mold as part of it, just no thank you. The European Union is the top producer of cheese in the world. They love their cheese in Europe. We're number 2, the United States. And of course, in the United States, Wisconsin cranks out more cheese than any other state. The French love their cheese. They eat about 60 pounds per person per year. The French do. Germans, not far behind, 53 pounds of cheese per person per year. Here in the United States, we eat about 34 pounds of cheese per person per year. Top 3 cheeses by popularity. Number 3, Swiss. Number 2, Camembert. And number 1, Parmesan. Obviously, I think. There you go. Cheese it up, baby. Happy National Cheese Day today. It's 27 minutes after the hour. Today in history, the voyage of the damned. The St. Louis, carrying 963 Jewish refugees, leaves Germany, goes to Havana, Cuba. Cuba said, nope, can't disembark, sorry. They let like 22 people off the ship because they had actual travel papers, and so they got to get off in Havana. The remaining 950 or so got back on board. Well, they never got off board. Then they went to Florida, and they went around Florida for a while, and they said, can we land here? Jewish refugees from Germany? And they said, nope. So they had no place else to go, so they turned the ship around to St. Louis. They went back to Europe. And of the 963 Jewish refugees, about 200 of them would later die in Nazi concentration camps because the United States and Cuba wouldn't let them disembark. The voyage of the damned, 85 years ago today. 84 years ago today, they finally evacuated Dunkirk. 338,000 troops was evacuated from Dunkirk in France to Great Britain. Of course, Winston Churchill got the job as Prime Minister not long before, and he told the House of Commons, we're never going to surrender. Forget about it. We will fight on the beaches if we have to, his famous speech. The Dunkirk evacuation ends, one of Hitler's major mistakes, by taking a little time out before they overran France. Speaking of World War II, Rome falls on this date, the first of the Axis capitals to fall. Now, they knew Rome was going to fall, so the Italian army was pretty much done, but the German army took off. They just went north. And so, yeah, we got Rome, but most of the German troops had already left Rome by the time we took it over. And if the Seahawks have a birthday, it's today. 50 years ago today, June 4th, 1974, the National Football League grants an expansion franchise to Seattle. And who's responsible? Ralph Wilson, the owner of the Bills. After the 1970 merger between the AFL and the NFL, one of the things that they agreed upon was expansion. Ralph Wilson said, I'm going to move my team to Seattle because I got a crappy stadium, and he used it as blackmail. Buffalo built him a new stadium. He stayed in Buffalo. Eventually, Seattle was awarded a franchise anyway to start play in 1976. So today is the Seahawks' 50th birthday. They didn't name the Seahawks, of course, for another couple of years. All right, bottom of the hour. Birthdays. George III. There he is. He went 2-1 in his war record. Not bad. He beat the French in the 7-Year War. That was pretty good. That made him pretty popular there in Great Britain. He defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. He was part of that group. But between beating the French in the 7 Years' War and defeating Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo, between those two incidents, there was that little Revolutionary War. That it just makes you got to think, what would have happened if George had just been just a little bit looser with the checkbook? Who knows? Thanks, George, King George III of the United Kingdom, who went ahead and let us be a country because he didn't know what he was doing. Happy 49th birthday to Angelina Jolie, the actress, the filmmaker, the humanitarian, the activist. She's got an Academy Award, I think. She's 49 years old. And a couple of local celebrities celebrating birthdays. Both Diana and Rachel celebrate birthdays. There's Diana. She knows how old she is. It's her birthday today. And our own Rachel, who we haven't seen in a long time because she's been on vacation. Happy birthday to Rachel. Again, Diana and Rachel know how old they are, so I don't need to tell you. Special thanks to our Platinum sponsor. Platinum is like as good. So's Alpine Air. For heating and cooling, call Alpine Air. Going to get hot this weekend. Make sure your air conditioner works. Nobody likes a hot house. Give Alpine Air a call. Make sure your AC is ready to go. Also, special thanks to our other sponsors. Among them, Pool to Spa Services. Boy, you're going to want a swimming pool this weekend, too. It takes a little while. You just can't dig a hole in the backyard and fill it full of water. Have the experts take care of that. Pool to Spa Services and our friends at Colonial Vista. Prestige Senior Living, specifically at Colonial Vista in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee. Going to take a break. Mike McNally's got an opinion, and then Jefferson Robbins and his conversation with the outgoing Chief of Police, who's going to be retiring here in just a couple of weeks, Steve Crown. When we come back, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
My name is Anna Marie. I've lived at Prestige here for 6.5 years, and I love it. They just made you feel so welcome. I love my room. I get 3 meals a day, do as I darn well want to. I've loved it ever since I moved in.
Mom's a wonderful, wonderful lady. She deserved the very best, and I got it for her here at Prestige.
It's the NCW Life Community Calendar, a presentation of Apple Valley Honda. Native storyteller Randy Lewis will lead a tour about the history of the Columbia River on June 8th in partnership with the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. Tickets and information is on the museum's website. On June 9th, the Gladsong Community Choir will hold a concert to benefit Mobile Meals of Wenatchee. It'll be at the Grace Lutheran Church at 6 p.m. Admission is by donation, and there will be a silent auction as well.
Have you noticed how expensive it is this summer to feed a family at most restaurants? Even a burger basket for 6 people can run you $60. But at Abby's, you can still feed a family of 4 to 6 for less than $26. Real value. That's one more reason we're legendary. We know what Abby's customers like on their pizza. Meat. Lots of meat. That's why this month, we're piling on the classic pepperoni, Canadian bacon, and beef. Abby's Triple Topper has the meat you love, and right now, it's on sale. Order your Triple Topper at abbys.com.
When you call Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, you're calling on 35 plus years of experience in the Wenatchee Valley. Spending extra time in your home, you may have discovered an unwanted aroma. Stinky feet, pets, who knows what. Call Dick's today about installing their Train Clean Effects electronic air cleaner or a Rheem Halo ultraviolet air purifier. Either way, the air quality in your home will be improved. Proudly servicing all of North Central Washington, call 884-6444 today.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now look, so I wouldn't know Taylor Swift if I bumped into her on the street. And literally, if I've ever heard any of her songs, I'm clueless. But I've seen a number of people recently, though, posting on Facebook that based on some of her lyrics on her new album, Swift mocks Christianity and is satanic. Well, having some mild interest in the activities of the Prince of Darkness, I briefly perused Miss Swift's lyrics, then I had to conclude that if I wanted to be offended, I really had to work at it. However, I have to admit that I'm somewhat obtuse. Yeah, I know, but if Miss Swift is mocking Christianity, maybe her attitude is motivated more by some of the behavior of some Christians and not by, what's his name, that other guy. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether, we provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
Jefferson Robbins with NCW Life. He came on in 2016 as our police chief, and now he's going to leave that post vacant for somebody else to try and fill his shoes. Chief Steve Crown with the Wenatchee Police Department. Thanks for letting us stop by today.
Thank you. Yeah, glad to have you.
I appreciate it. The middle part of June is your last day here, and from what I was looking at your resume, Chief, you go in 11-year cycles. You were 11 years as a Wenatchee Police patrol officer. You were 11 years with the State Fish and Wildlife Police, and now back here in 2016. You haven't been here very long, but a lot of things have changed in that time frame.
Yeah. 8 years here with City of Wenatchee as a chief. I would say that this last leg of my career has been the most rewarding. You know, I think it's special. I think it's absolutely amazing to start your career. Of course, it was in a very old building. That building was made in 1930. And when I started there, it was under much different circumstances. We worked 8-hour shifts. Today, you flash forward and the patrol works under 12-hour shifts, have amazing equipment. It's just, here you sit in a very nice, newer building, bigger department, a lot more capacity, but ending your career in this department, I think it's a full circle and an amazing career to be able to do that.
What kind of differences, I mean, some of them should be obvious, but between fish and wildlife policing and policing in a small city?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have changed my career for anything. The path that I took, being here in the first place, being able to do the things that I did, starting back in 1991, working as a detective, working as a street crime unit guy that specialized in gangs, and being able to be a detective working mostly in street crime, persons crimes type stuff, and then going to Fish and Wildlife, which I was able to pair up my love of being a police officer with being out in the nature of our great state, seeing such amazing beauty in this state. It was a dream come true. Amazing differences in landscape too. One day you would be over in the sagebrush of eastern Washington, and the next day you could literally be on the San Juan Islands working salmon fishing. Yeah, there's differences in the type of enforcement, but it all comes down to knowing the laws of the state and being able to enforce them in a very proactive way. That's, I think, the biggest difference between, let's say, conventional law enforcement and natural resource law enforcement is a lot of the calls for service in, say, municipal policing. A lot of that is call driven, meaning you're getting dispatched to a lot of different calls. Not so much in a natural resource law enforcement world where a lot of it is proactive work, which really drives a lot of game wardens, and that's what is really exciting about that job is you're really being proactive out there and protecting the resource. As you get up and promote through organizations, there are some similarities. You're dealing with a lot of budget, you're dealing with strategic thinking, organizing, planning, directing, guiding organizations. So some of that remains the same. When I was with Fish and Wildlife, dealing with a $40 million biennial budget, you had to know how to really direct activities and make sure that you're being fiscally responsible while also meeting the needs of a big department. So those skill sets really did help me get prepared for coming here to Wenatchee too. So,
did you want to come back to the Wenatchee Valley for specific purposes, family, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. When I asked my wife, when I heard that Tom Robbins was going to retire, I asked her, I said, hey, I was informed that there's an opportunity over in Eastern Washington, and she said, I asked her, do you want me to apply? And she said, absolutely. This is something that we both agreed upon would be great for us to finish out both of our careers in coming over here. So competed for the job, and here I am.
The Wenatchee Police Department has grown in the number of officers by about 10, from 38 when you came in as chief to 48 now. Does that reflect a different kind of needs in the city that you've seen come into play since you came on as chief?
Yeah, I mean, there's been obviously the growth that has happened. The old station annexation is part of that. I think that there's been increasing need on many fronts. The calls for service have gone up considerably. I think when I first started here, there were somewhere in the neighborhood of about 18,000 to 19,000 calls for service. We're up around knocking on 24,000 calls for service right now. Mental health continues to be an issue. I think fentanyl is a big issue. I think from 2022 to 2023, we had a 12% crime rate increase. I think that there's definitely some current concerns in those areas.
One of the things that you brought on board, and many departments have adopted this, is body cameras, body-worn cameras for recording encounters between police, the public, investigations, that kind of thing. What do body cameras do for a department? What kind of advantages do they bring?
I think one thing is you always look for opportunities for public trust, transparency, and how you do your business. Body-worn cameras is absolutely one of those mechanisms that help you achieve that. It's kind of an open book. It is also a way of representing evidence in a courtroom that is second to none. It gives context, but not all of it. You have to be aware of that, and yet also attorneys, both for the defense and for the prosecution, have to be aware of that. And it's not the end-all be-all, but it certainly is a very useful tool in that respect for court. I think it is a useful tool for the officers, that any sort of complaint that's lodged against them is captured on video. It changes behavior. It changes the behavior of the suspect, knowing that they're being videotaped, and it also changes the behavior slightly of the officer too, is knowing that this whole thing is being recorded. So I think it's beneficial in several aspects.
Speaking of behavior, I don't know if it was commonplace in the 1990s when you were on patrol, but behavioral health is now something that police have to take into account and use as kind of a tool in their toolbox. How has that changed? What kind of role does behavioral health play in policing now?
Well, I would say that behavioral health and homelessness are they're intertwined. They're absolutely, you can't separate the two. And I would say that the third leg of that stool is substance use disorder. They're all so intertwined. Back when I first started in 1991, yeah, you had alcohol was a huge thing where, yeah, you had a detox center which was open. You could drop off an individual. They can get short-term, long-term treatment. And as far as a mental health, it was much different. You had the ability to involuntarily detain an individual. There was always that aspect, but you had Eastern and Western Washington where that was more of a resource, where slowly that changed to where it was only they were only used as a diagnostic center to see if they were able to stand trial. Were they competent to stand trial? So I think more and more of the treatment and even the detention side of it was pushed more back to the local level, and the local resources really did not have the facilities or the funding to really deal with the problems that were in the community. So you had this festering issue that continued to grow. And so that's one thing that I've seen over the years, is that this state continues to struggle with that.
And the idea of behavioral health units working with local police is simply to try and address that problem and intervene before it becomes a criminal matter, really.
Sure. I mean, the best possible way of dealing with that is to work further up the stream before you have a more crisis type event, is to work with the individual further up the stream and get them the resources that they need. And sometimes that's medication, sometimes that's counseling. All of that is more important in the early intervention versus when somebody is literally in crisis and causes either crime, there's other victims involved, families become frustrated, and I think that's really what our community struggles with right now, and there's a ton of criticism about that with our service providers. And I'll be the first to admit is that law enforcement is woefully ill prepared. We are a point in time. We are not case managers, and we can't continue to follow somebody longer term. And that's an extreme frustration, is that we continue to deal with the same people over and over again, and we don't really have the facilities to put them in.
Well, one of the points at which people are going to say, where's a police officer when you need one, is probably in traffic enforcement. They see a speeder, they see somebody running a light, they really wish there was some kind of mechanism or some kind of enforcement happening there. But you've tried to take steps toward establishing stronger traffic enforcement in Wenatchee. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we made it a priority by actually working with the Washington State Traffic Safety Commission. We got a grant through the Traffic Safety Commission, and it actually helps us with salaries for 2 officers and a half salary for a sergeant. And that grant runs through 2025. The city takes on full burden for that traffic unit, but they're dedicated not only to being out there to enforce traffic safety, but they're also designed to put together different types of programs, education, to try and think about more meaningful ways of getting traffic safety to the forefront, whether it's programs for bars, taverns at closing time to have safe travel home rather than getting behind the wheel and being intoxicated. Street racing, being able to reach out to those that have the modified exhaust, individuals that are gathering, just doing some of those education pieces to try and work with individuals. It's working right now. The statistics show that a lot of stops are happening. Only about right now in the first 2 months of the traffic unit starting, which was in January, only about 50% of folks that are stopped are getting citations. That's going to probably ratchet up towards the summer as we switch from mostly education to the more enforcement. But school zones are absolutely every parent's nightmare, is that their kid walking to school. We want to be really emphasizing to slow down in those areas. Some of the high volume areas, like around the high school, Pioneer School, we want to make sure that people are taking and recognizing that their driving behavior matters in our city, and it's been wildly successful. Even some of our folks that are receiving some of those citations have came to our traffic bureau window and said, "Hey, I got a ticket, but I'm glad you guys are out there." And so that's been positive.
Are there projects, Chief, that you've started or undertaken that now, with your retirement coming up, you're just not going to be there to see them all the way through? Things you want to see continue?
The list is long. I mean, this job, that is the one thing I will say emphatically about it. There is no way that you're going to stick a flag in the top of the mountain and say you're done. And it is continuous. Some of those things that have been in the local newspaper and other outlets have been a firing range for law enforcement. It's an indoor range, and that is a long project. That's a long game. It has to be done. You've got to be a good neighbor. As this valley continues to grow out, you know that we're a landlocked valley, and you're going to see more and more houses come in here. If you want to have a place for law enforcement to train, it makes total sense to have an indoor range where the report of guns don't bother your neighbors. I think that there are a ton of projects on the front of looking at how we deal with substance use disorder and what are the gaps within our community, whether it's at the front with law enforcement, where's the warm handoff with the criminal justice system, at the prosecutor level, the service provider end with getting them into substance use treatment, to drug court, all the other sources. We've got a program right now with University of Washington Clears program to do some of that gap analysis. So that's going to be a project that has to be carried on. Continue to work with our partners in every facet. Child abuse, work with SAGE, and putting on education training with schools, parents. That's going to continue to move on. What do we do about homelessness and some of the RVs that are camped out along our streets? There is certainly a component that it's not against the law to be homeless, but there are certain behaviors that are associated with parking your RV on a street that are, so there's a ton of initiatives that come with this job that are going to have to be continued and soldiered forward with the next chief coming on board. It just simply is not going to somehow pause.
What's your next step, Chief, personally?
I suspect that I'll be doing some consulting with maybe some executive search for some governments that want to find bright new minds to take on jobs like this. I suspect I'll be doing some other consulting for some agencies when it comes to use of force and some other things associated with law enforcement. But I'm not at liberty yet to say I've signed a contract with anybody. So.
Well, you've had 40 plus years to think about this, Chief, so the last question is, what is a police department's obligation to the people that it's serving?
I think the obligation to the public is to put forth the very best in its people that it puts in the uniform. It is really that what is in their mission statement, they need to live up to it, and that is every police department has a version of that: serve and protect. You know, it truly does get down to that, and you do that through your people. In this department, in the last 8 years, this is a staggering statistic. In the last 8 years, we have hired 50% of all of the staff in this department. Literally all, with the exception of one of the supervisors in this department, have been promoted. That's unprecedented growth, but that has been the focus for the last 8 years. That's the one thing that I can say that I'm most proud of, is that the folks that are in this department are well situated to take on whatever comes at them. There has been not only the growth, but the training, the education to handle whatever comes at them. There's been some tough stuff. There's been officer-involved shootings, there's been use of force, there's been big cases, and they've all done exceptionally well. And I'm extremely proud of how they've came through all of that. And I expect that they have a lot of good years ahead of them as well. So that's what makes this decision a lot easier to do.
Steve Crown, winding down your time as Wenatchee Police Chief, thanks for letting us come by.
You bet. Appreciate it.
You're watching the NCW Life Channel.
Walkabout Grill, open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner in downtown Wenatchee and now downtown Leavenworth, where eating out is eating healthy.
And we are back, 51 degrees here in the big city, quite a bit of cloud cover. They'll be leaving our area as we work our way through this Tuesday, but we're not done with the wind quite yet. We had one gust up at Pangbourne yesterday afternoon at about 47 miles an hour. Strongest wind speed was about 33 miles an hour. Well, by golly, we're doing it all over again. Not quite as windy. Sustained winds today will be about 20 miles an hour, but gusts pushing 40 is a distinct possibility again in the afternoon. This is weather system number 2 of our parade of weather systems. The first one was yesterday. This one, not quite as robust, not quite as windy, not quite as chance of rain either. And then things really turn around with lots of sunshine and very warm temperatures as a big dome of high pressure builds up. One more time for the National Weather Service, here is your forecast. 71 today, again, windy. It's cloudy now. It'll be sunny by the time noonish or so runs around. 46 for the overnight low tonight. That's kind of chilly. And in here we go. We'll be up to 77 Wednesday, mid-80s Thursday, very warm Friday, and very warm Saturday and Sunday as well. That's it for us. We will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
You've ever seen. It's raining cherries.
What to do with them?
Swallow, don't chew.
Make a pie.
And then.
And we're off to one small South Carolina town with a lot of buzz.
Welcome to Small Town Big Deal. I'm Rodney Miller.
And I'm Jan Carl. We are in Traverse City, Michigan.
Population about 14,000.
And a lot of people would say it is the sweet spot of the